Yes, here we are. Biden's border crisis has forced the Texas governor's hand, with Trump urging states to send the National Guard troops to the border, while Texas Democrats call on Biden to take over the National Guard. And finally, after 160 years, it had seems, I guess, it seems the country can't get over the original Civil War. So, of course, the idea is that we just start a new one, as 25 states are now behind Texas, as opposed to the federal government's directives when it comes to immigration. Broadcasting live from the WDCE studios out of the University of Richmond, you're listening to 90.1 FM from the most trusted puppet in media. Reporting since Roswell, I'm Sam Newsman, and this is Saturday morning. I want to thank everyone, of course, for joining into the show. A couple of things we got going on this morning. We do have the Sam Cams live. Yes, we have David James. We have Mark Cosplay, 1225 Productions. We also have Toyo Mike Displays. A couple of people have joined in, and you might be sitting there thinking, well, Sam, what are you talking about? Well, not only can you hear my beautiful puppet voice on the FM frequency, yes, that's a real FM microphone over there. So, yes, we are broadcasting live on an FM frequency. Just think about it for a moment. If you were driving around in your car and you were driving around Richmond, you tuned into 90.1 FM, you would hear my beautiful puppet voice. But then you would sit there and think, well, Sam, can I not see? Listen, I'm not there in Richmond. I'm not there in Richmond. I can't just turn on the radio. How do I see your beautiful puppet face if I cannot hear your beautiful puppet voice? Well, first, you can still hear my beautiful puppet voice by downloading the Live 365 app. Download the Live 365 app, search WDCE, and you'll be able to listen to my beautiful puppet voice if you have to do things. Now, but if you want to see my beautiful puppet face, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to go to @SamNewsMan. @SamNewsMan all over social media. We are broadcasting live right now on Facebook, YouTube, and X. This cam right here, or the Sam Cam on Instagram, which is right over here, the Sam Cam on Instagram. I see Dead Man, shout out to the D Sombriste, Big M Prime, Mark Cosplay, Big M, a whole bunch of people that are joining in. Like I said, David James. I have a whole bunch of people joining in. This is an interactive show, if you're not familiar with that. Interactive show. We have interaction with the chat right there in the chat. It's right there. It's like I'm pointing at it right now. There it is, the chat. That's the Sam Cam on Instagram. The Sam Cam chat for Facebook, YouTube, and X is over here. Setting the standard, raising the bar. Of course, doing everything a real media puppet should know how to do. You know, I get tired of all this stuff. I hear humans all the time. Listen, they always say that, oh, this person's a media puppet, and this is a media puppet, and this is a political puppet. And here I am, a real media puppet, a real media puppet, a real media puppet. Less, no, this is real felt here. You can feel it. And then I'm sitting there, I have to just sit back and say, hey, why are all these people using my gender as a weapon? It's my gender that's being used as a weapon. People are using puppet, which is my gender, that I can't even select. I can't even select the gender puppet. I can't do it. No, listen, if I were to go to Facebook right now and they were to sit there and say, hey, what's your gender? Or Instagram, and I wanted to sit there and say, I don't have an official gender. I don't. And you know what? This is very upsetting to me, specifically as progressive as we're trying to be. I should be able to go to that section of the gender line and sit there and select puppet, but I can't select it. Why? Because they say that I guess that's not a real. They have Z, Zim, her, Zim, Zim, Zam, Zim, Zimbabwe, Skibidi Boppa, Wee Bop Do, and sounding like a jazz scat, but I don't have I don't have puppet. What do you mean I don't have puppet? I don't have puppet, and that you have jazz scat, You have jazz scat as a gender and you don't have puppet as a gender? You know what? Yes, no, listen, I know I wasn't supposed to talk about this, but this really gets me upset. Listen, it's the second week. God forbid that there's any, I guess any college radio kids listening to it. They're all probably asleep anyway. No. Oh, they'll get upset that you're talking about gender. No, I'm not talking about gender. I'm talking about my gender. I identify as puppet. Can anybody sit there and say, oh, well, Sam, you know what? This is a real shame here. They're calling humans puppets and they're not puppets. And here I am, a real media puppet. No, this really does upset me because then somebody sits there and says, oh, well, if you want to just sit there, why don't you just type in your gender? No, that doesn't count. That does not count. That does not count the fact that I could sit there and type in my gender and then you're going to say that's my gender. No, that's not official yet. I want the puppet official gender to be a selection. Oh, well, no, I know. No, I know I was going to talk about the Civil War. Good grief. No, you guys started it. No, I'm talking to the guys on the other side of the glass. Listen, you're just sitting there listening to it. It's 11:22 here on the 27th day of January in the year 2024. No, listen, I'm telling you what right now. What? No, yeah, I wanted to talk about the EMS story. Yeah, Richmond Times Dispatch. Did you see this? No, I'll talk about the Civil War in a moment. Yeah, we'll talk. Yeah, do we talk about the Civil War in a moment? We'll talk about the Civil War in a moment. Let me just talk about this real quick. Hold on. EMS story. Let's go ahead and throw that up there. Yes, the EMS story. EMF office suspected of fraudulent activity. Yes, this is from the Richmond Times Dispatch. Now you know that I am the number three winner of the Richmond Times Dispatch for best local morning radio show, voted on by the listeners around here and all over the world, if you will. We have listeners not only from coast to coast, we have listeners in Japan, we have listeners in Europe, we have listeners all over the place. The reason is there's no reason why we wouldn't get third place. We're trying to get second this year, and we'll talk more about that in May when that comes up. But Richmond Times Dispatch, of course, the number three bronze medal winner, of course, here that you're listening to right now. What does that mean? Does that mean I'm like second loser? We'll talk about that later. EMS office suspected of fraudulent activity. It owes providers $33 million after misuse of funds. Basically, what is happening is that when you would call for an ambulance, they would overcharge you. They would overcharge your insurance, and they would rake in the money and the benefits. And now they've been called out for it. So thank God that has happened. Thank God that has happened. What? What do you mean the Rockefeller doctors in their white lab coats? No, listen, I don't want to get into the Rockefeller doctors in their white lab coats. We're not getting into that right now. No, but what's really crazy is that if you sit there, if you broke an arm or you broke a leg or somebody had to call in, they're having a heart attack for God's sake, and then somebody has to call in an ambulance, they sat there and they raped you. They raped you full of funds. That's what's happening. 33 million. 33 million. The State Office of Emergency Medical Services owes 33 million to Virginia's EMS providers, state health leaders said Friday, revealing the total cost of the office financial crisis for the first time. The office misused money for years, and it is unclear where the hell it even went. The Office of the State Inspector General and law enforcement agencies are reviewing suspected fraudulent activity, said one state health commissioner. The Office of EMS pays for ambulance equipment and the nonprofits that train and coordinate the first responders. After investigating for more than 6 months, the Virginia Department of Health believes it has reached the bottom of the problem, said one person. In the spring, during the routine audit, the health department discovered the money was missing at the office of the EMS. The money was missing. You know what? I can't tell you how often it is that your tax dollars are used for nothing more than money laundering. And listen, I was not going to go there this morning, but that's really what it is. Yeah, no, I'm serious. Money laundering is what happens. Where the hell do you think all your money went when it went to Ukraine? Where the hell do you think it's going to go if it goes to Israel? Money laundering. Ridiculous. And then people want to sit there. No, no, listen, I'm all for helping other countries, but who the hell's going to help us? We got an invasion at the border, people talking about civil war, and hell, it's not even February yet. It's not even February yet, and people are already talking about a civil war. Think about that for a moment. And you guys thought that I just had this dumpster fire over my shoulder saying that this is the year of the dumpster fire. Hell, we're not even in February yet. And we're already talking about that Biden might possibly use military force to take over a park to allow migrants to swim across the Rio Grande and become, I guess, and just, I guess, become somewhat citizens in this country. Listen, what, hold on, what? No, wait a minute. No, I'm just telling you what has happened. Listen, didn't I just tell you that I'm a real media puppet that can't even get my damn gender on social media? And you want to sit there and tell me to sit there and start B&Ming? Yeah, you know what is that? What? You want me to start B&Ming? No, not BM, B&Ming. There's a difference between a BM and a BM. Well, it's all BM, I guess, if you want to think of it that way. It is all a big BM. Everything's a big BM. You think that everything is going to be real? It's going to be okay? They're talking about civil war. This morning, I'm sitting there reading an article, and it's saying that Biden is going to use force, military force, against Texas, who's trying to protect the border. I tell you what. No, I don't know what the hell's going on. All I do know is that there was a document that was circulated back on the 17th of January. Did you hear this? They say that there's a threat. There's some type of threat that's going to happen. They don't know what it is. They need to be more researched about it, but there's some kind of threat that's happening. And then all of a sudden, there's these terrorists that are coming across the border. This is not some right-wing argument. This is not some right-wing or left-wing argument. My question is where the hell are the women and children? Show me the women and children, the people who are escaping destitute. Because I don't know if I see it. People talk about an invasion army. I don't know about all that. But all I know is that almost 4 years ago, there was a whole bunch of medical discrepancies that were used. And here we are. We're not even in February yet. And these mofos are sitting there talking about civil war. Biden going to bring in the military against the National Guard. You have congressmen calling for Biden to say, hey, well, why don't you just federalize the National Guard so you can take it over? What the hell is going on? I'll tell you what's going on. I was right the whole time. Come on, let's just say it. Can we just say it right now? I mean, it's not even February yet. I was right the whole time. I've been right the whole time. I've been doing this for 6 years on the radio. Listen, I came out of retirement to do this. I've been right the whole time. The whole time. And don't get me started on Klaus Schwab, the World Economic Forum, the World Health Organization. I've been right the whole time. No, I'm not going to sit there and go into it now. You should have been listening the whole time to begin with. And you know what you can do? You can listen every Saturday morning from 9 to noon. 9 to noon, that's where you're going to find me. At Sam Newsman, all over social media. That's another place you're going to find me. And I tell you what, I might be frustrated right now, but I do see a light at the end of the tunnel. No, I do. But what do you say? What do you mean by that, Sam? Does that mean that the good guys are going to win, or the bad guys are going to lose? No, I don't mean that. What I mean is that you need to think about everything for yourself. Set the standard and raise the bar for your own self. Be better, do better, and win better every single day. I don't need to sit there and tell you what to do. You just got to be a better version of yourself today more than you were yesterday. So when you sit there and you hear that, oh my gosh, there's a civil war coming, and then this is going on, and economics and finance and all this other stuff, what I want you to know right now is that while you might focus on all that, the real thing that matters is that you, like I said, being a better version of yourself today than you were yesterday. And you know what? You might fail sometimes. You might fail. And if you fail, you know what happens is you jump up, you brush it off, and you attack the next day. That's what's going to happen. So while no matter what you see and what's going on all everywhere, just know that I'll be back here in just a few moments. We'll talk about what we learned today, go over a few different things, and we'll promote a little bit about what's going to happen at the top of next hour with mixtapes and Sir Philosopher. We'll be back, like I said, here on the other side of the break. At Sam Newsman all over social media, setting the standard, raising the bar. Make sure you download the Live 365 app, search WDCE, and you can listen to the show. Or go to WDCE.org. You'll be able to listen to it there as well. Setting the standard, raising the bar, here on the only award-winning radio show dedicated to the magic and nostalgia of Saturday morning, hosted by me, a real media puppet from the most trusted puppet in media, reporting since Roswell. I'm Sam Newsman, and this is Saturday Morning.